Wellington is flown by Geoff Graves, flying on Catawba radio, and Jeff flies with the Rolls-Royce Club at Hucknall. The big ones do. They'll drop a stick of bombs. There's a big Lancaster on the circuit, 17 foot, which actually drops a bouncing bomb, and they look absolutely superb.
I take it along the way somewhere there's the occasional earner if a film company wants to talk to you.
Yes, certainly models are used a lot in films, or they used to be. I don't know whether they still are. Circuit. You can see it crabbing slightly in as it turns crosswind there. That's something else we have to contend with. I can now hear the jets rolling up, multiple rolls down the strip.
Standing over there, it's too expensive. Start.
Here down there, they'll be going around these on the downwind leg.
We now turn to 4 Merlin engines and Just Jet. ladies and gentlemen, as those Merlins stop popping, what a wonderful sound. Put your hands together for all the people that make that Lancaster work the magic it's done. In German it's known as the Storch. Over here we would call it the Stork. This is doing the same sort of role in the 50s. And finally, rasping away into the air, in the Oscar Mark 11, Oscar AOP 11. And the Army was interested in this Saunders Row Skeeter helicopter. And so in a manner of speaking, we're looking at the last throw of the dice for fixed wing airborne observation posts in this wonderful one-off aeroplane. Dale is going to show that he's not, that Peter Holloway is not the only one who can do slow flying. Flaps pulled down, throttle back. Nice and quiet. Spotting for guns and enemy on the ground. September 1943, the Storch excelled itself. The SS General Otto Skorensky was charged with rescuing Mussolini from an Alpine hotel that could only be got at via a cable car. It's the thing that movies are made of. Now, it might not look it, but this aeroplane is very thirsty. It averages 14 gallons an hour. That's more than a Mark V Spitfire. And now he flies in cross-controlled waves. Cross-controls perfectly done. That is exceptional flying. Part aeroplane, part crab. In April 1945, well-known German aviatrix Hannah Reich, she went and flew into what was left of a dual carriageway in Berlin in an attempt to join the Führer in the bunker for the last moments of the Third Reich. That is amazing flying. Right, ladies and gentlemen, the Storch is going to show you this sort of landing. We haven't got a tennis court here, but he's going to do his best. Flaps all the way down. rapidly and with very little forward speed. Keep your eye on Peter as he comes round now onto the runway. Let's see how much, or indeed how little, he uses. Holding it off, pulling back on the stick gently down. See the undercarriage flex? Nothing, done. Absolutely no wear and tear on the grass at all. Thanks, Peter, you're looking after this runway beautifully. Up goes the tail, strong goes the throttle, and he's airborne. Hold back on the stick, hold back, gently down on that enormously long undercarriage. Just let it kiss the grass, and done, all over. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, when he taxis up to you, please give him a rousing round of applause. That is exceptional flying from an exceptional pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, from your right, Justin Needham in the Cessna 01 Bird Dog. This is AOP style 1950s. This aeroplane actually in 60s colours of the South Vietnam airport. Degrees of barn door like flaps. Here's Justin's idea of slow flight. How's that? Look at those flaps. Massive pieces of metal. And you can see there very, very well. The canopy gives him exceptional view. About 3,000 bird dogs built. They really cut their teeth in the Korean War with the United States Army and the United States Marine Corps. And then, as you can see, they still had a useful life in the Vietnam conflict. This is Stuart Smith in a fabulous replica of a DH-2, a de Havilland DH-2. The propeller pushing the aeroplane along. Now, why do this, I hear you say? I can answer this. In the early days of 1915, we were facing a thing on the front line called the Fokker Scourge. Anthony Fokker and his team for the Germans had developed a thing called the interrupter gear. They could fire machine guns through the propeller blade. We hadn't got an interrupter gear. So what do? You put the gun at the front, the engine at the back, and you get this sensational looking machine. And this machine is in the colours of Major Lanahu George Hawker. Man who had 7 victories, most of them on DH-2s, as you see here. With 3 victories in a day, in the space of just over an hour. That is exceptional. So eventually, we managed to work out what the interrupter gear was about, and we developed fighters. Now, flying the markings of this machine portray the aircraft that poor old Major Lano Hawker was shot down in service with 24 Squadron in France in November 1916, when this aeroplane really was behind the drag curve. He's waving beautifully at you, folks. Please wave back. That's the lovely DH2 down. When he parks up, folks, I'd like you to really give him a round of applause. An amazing machine. Yeah. Stuart Smith says, the whole world is in front of you, and he says every moment flying this is like a holiday. I just think it looks ever so difficult. 20 seconds to go. We are going now to deploy the incredible Debbie.
The Yak-52 is a Russian machine. It was built in the 70s. It was used as a trainer for both sport and military pilots. Joe Bloggs off the street, or whatever the Russian equivalent to that is, would come in and he would learn to fly in an aircraft just like this. If you ever sit in the cockpit of the Yak-52, you'll see the instrument panel is laid out just like a jet. So once that pilot had learned how to fly an aircraft, the transition from this to a jet was relatively easy. The Yak-52's first wowed the Western world in the 70s in the aerobatic scene with some of the mad stunts that they could do. Now Nigel's starting off in quite a gentle pace, just slowly putting the aircraft through some of his paces, but later on he will show you more of what this machine is capable of. Nigel learned to fly in Ipswich Airport back in the 80s, unfortunately it's no longer there. He's gone on to fly many different aircraft, and he's displayed the Yak now for around 10-11 years. He can often be found at weekends down at Earl's Cone in Structon, so if you fancy learning how to do some mad stuff in an aircraft, take your life in your hands and go and fly with Nigel. Okay, you see at the end of the display line now, he's going to pull the Yak up into a stall turn. See, he pulls it up to the speed, just about bleeds off, then he kicks in the right rudder, because in this aeroplane the propeller goes the opposite way to most others, and he does a nice stall turn round to the right. If you want to know what that feels like, imagine being on the Pepsi Max up in Blackpool when you go down that big first dive. That's what it feels like if you're looking out the front of the cockpit and all you can see is the ground rushing back up at you. He's now doing what's called a humpity bump. So you can see he's pushed the aircraft up to the vertical and then he pushes it over the top and you find your stomach going up into your mouth there as you do one of those humpity bumps. Lovely aircraft to fly, very light on the controls, very manoeuvrable. Now I said to you at the beginning that when the Russians came on the aerobatic scene back in the 70s, they done a manoeuvre that had people scratching their heads and saying, how on earth did they do that? Now that manoeuvre is called the Loncevac, and if you translate that Russian word back to English, Loncevac, you get headache or hangover. And the Russians so named this manoeuvre because they thought it resembled a drunk on a Friday night when he was winding his way home from the pub, staggering and rolling around the street. And Nigel's going to demonstrate that for you now. You can see he's just got some height for himself, he's diving down to get the speed, and he's going to pull the aircraft up to the vertical, and then he's going to set it rolling, pitching and yawing, all at the same time. There he goes. Okay, and the only way to stop those gyroscopic forces taking the aircraft round and round is to throttle back there on the controls, and that's what Nigel's done. Now, if you want to know what that feels like from the inside, don't come and ask me, because I have not sat in the back for one of those. I don't like the look of it from the ground, let alone being on the air, before he runs back in to do the avalanche. You can see he's pulling up into the loop there, and just when you think it's all over and you're upside down, he then puts a flick in. There you go, and back down the other side. Now it looks like, doesn't it, that Nigel's up there just throwing their aircraft around and having a whale of a time and not taking notice of anything. Well, those pilots need to know exactly what's going on. They need to have gate height, speeds, and safety is always very important.
So we're running in now, just taking over a bit of speed, and around about 200 miles an hour, here we go. Up to the vertical, input all of the controls, here we go. Spinning around the top, as you can see, and the recovery is with the throttle closed, and straight down again, back onto the display line, throttle open, and climb away, that's all there is to it.
Control where you crab across the runway. That's exceptional. How do you achieve that?
I'm not really sure. It's got such powerful controls, and obviously it's designed to fly at very low speed. The ideal wind...
Just as you saw earlier with our wonderful radio-controlled modelers, and we'll be seeing more of their expertise later, John Taylor, in between lessons I assume, decided that he could build and design his own aeroplane. You can't just go out and do it. In those days it was called the Popular Flying Association that would look after you and inspect you and sign you off. These days it's the Light Aircraft Association. Titch is powered by a converted Continental PC60 with around 100 horsepower, and you can see it makes it a very punchy performer. Now anything that the Storch could do, the Calidus can do even more so. The rotor is not powered, it freewheels. All of the propulsion comes from that Rotax engine in the rear of the pod. Now those of you with sharp eyes may notice that Peter has different coloured gloves on. He's like me. I think he has problems with his lefts and his rights. So keep your eye on his hands as he slow flies around. And you certainly have no problem spotting that. There's a green hand. Now is that his left or his right? And the other one will be bright pink. I'm confused already. It's capable very, almost totally of hovering. Can't quite hold it completely still in the air. That big rotor freewheeling all the time, acting as a big circular wing. Now let's take a look at these gloved hands again. slowly freewheeling down, just like a sycamore seed from a tree. Those of you who are ready for those who booked in for the second taxi ride in Just Jane, please go to the briefing room, the Nissan hut near Just Jane's hangar, ready for your flight, ready for your taxi ride in Just Jane. Those of you booked in on the taxi ride, please go to the briefing room, which is the Nissan hut behind the mini tanks. Later on, he's part 50% of our P-51D Mustang pilots. And this machine, like the two Mustangs, is owned by Morris Hammond and based at Hardwick. Now there'll be quite a few of you saying, he keeps calling it a T6 Texan. Surely that's a Harvard. Well, the British and Commonwealth forces knew this aeroplane as the Harvard. Essential in a trainer, some unforgiving characteristics so that you'd learn the hard way. Now this machine carries interesting colours. It's called the big beefy T6. Dave Evans, you'll see more from him later. Dave goes downwind for landing. Very shortly, we'll be coming back.
When you see it like in the next county, and I've no demo flight, and then you've got another 30 minutes for the actual hand, ready to get out, salute everybody and show.
So ladies and gentlemen, hand you over to Derek North, and he'll talk you through this. I'm back shortly.
Is based on a privately owned American plane that has been coloured up in the military scheme, and this is a faithful representation of that actual aircraft. There's the GB going up for a loop, is he? Yes, he is indeed. Over the top, throttling off as he comes back down again. So we have 6 petrol engines in the air, 4 models, 6 petrols. Corsair is going up in a big barrel roll. Coming back for an upwind low pass, or lowish pass. Now it's going to be a 4-point roll. Richard will probably have burnt off nearly half the fuel load he was carrying when he took off. Which of course makes the model considerably lighter when he comes into land, which is a good thing.
Our pilot today is Squadron Leader Duncan Mason. Joined the RAF in 1991, went from Harriers to Hawks to the Red Arrows, the Balkans, Afghanistan, and now flying Spitfires before you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spitfire 19 is all I need to say. Those of you who are familiar with Morris's and Dave's display will know that they are past masters of bringing the best out of the Mustang. And in the right hands, and these two are most definitely the right hands, the P51D Mustang can become a finely tuned musical instrument. And we hope to show you its flute-like qualities today. In fabulous close formation. Rolling in from the left are Mustangs. P51 pilots would come back to their bases in hopefully euphoric mood, showing off above their bases quite like this. And there you heard it, the flute-like tone generated from the 3 machine gun ports in each wing. Found themselves not easy against our lush countryside, and then against this blue. Safely together, Morris Hammond and Dave Evans, Marinelle and Janie, over East Kirkby for a run and break. And that's how you come over your airfield. So the Mustangs land on. We're getting Captain Neville's Flying Circus ready to go into the air for you.
And this is oh, it's a red one.
Wonderful Tiger Moth, the oldest one flying in the UK. Then the Peel Emerald.
Kidding, this was the one that he learned to fly on.
That's right.
So we could do it. All aircraft airborne, all six of them.
John, this is the full complement, isn't it? The entire circus.
Well, good. These bags are breaking before they leave the aeroplane. Okay, I don't know where that was going. Right, the Emerald now. Oh, God, it just came off the edge of the wing. Missile at the ready. Let it go. Oh, yes! Undress. See, this brings a whole new meaning to the word mobile toilets.
Here comes Trish. Now, not bad, you know, in the line of this speaking. I just think we can dismiss the fact that these are smart bombs. Well throttled back here.
Oh, it's looking good. Oh, it's so close.
Is the little Emerald having a go?
Dear, oh dear. It's fallen over.
You see, it's good drying day, John. Let's put up the washing.
Oh, what's happening now then?
Well, I think
Emerald coming in. Don't like the look of number one. It's better under number two. Fantastic. We must applaud their flying skill, actually, Ken. Queen Bee, under one. Come on.
Excellent. Queen Bee.
Yes.
No. Yes, let's most definitely remind everybody that this is fun, this is theatre, but they are flying beautifully.
Okay, Chipmunk now, coming in, under one. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good for number two. Yes!
Exceptional. Exceptional.
Okay, that's interesting. It's an up and over at the moment.
It is.
And it's about to be an under.
Oh, the Emerald's one.
Oh. Up. So we're still on one at the moment. Okay,
Trish.
Anything you can do? Okay. Right, Captain Neville now coming in. A bit of side slipping going on as he comes in towards us now. I think he's going for both of them. Looking good. Number one. Yes, he's going to go for number two. Yes, success.
Fabulous.
Okay, and the Chippy looking, they've got their confidence up now. Oh, it's a regular thing now, Ken. Emerald a bit faster. Under one.
Oh, they got their eye
In one. Oh, yes. In two. They've all scored a double. Now, and fantastic. Okay, here's Trish looking to... Oh,
yes.
Fantastic. Looking for another two. Oh,
two very worried balloons there.
Two there. Do you think they're in the cockpit going dagger, 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 dagger?
I think they have to be. They've all got equity cards, they must be.
Well, there's a couple of stray ones there over to the east side. Or not. Yes! Fantastic! Have a wave there, ladies. Have a wave to the...
Oh, it's very polite to them.
Past. They're lovely people. Great entertainment.
Here comes Trish in the Jackaroo.
Nice and sedate. Captain Neville himself.
Our wing water. Leap with balletic pose on the leg. Waving away. She gets an incredible view of East Kirkby. Down goes the nose, on goes the smoke. Pulling up, getting a really different view of this airfield. And still waving those arms around. It's at moments like this I remind myself that my wife has done two unstable things in her life. The first unstable thing she did was be a wing walker for 6 years. The second unstable thing, self-evidently, was marrying me. Furiously at you. So that's baby oil, or as near as damn it that they're pumping into the hot exhaust to make the smoke. Where this sort of thing was done without safety harnesses. These days we have a very different attitude on it. A 40 horsepower engine. Keep your eyes on the edge as he climbs for height, because height means energy. Hesitation roll. Oh no, straight. This was designed in 1934 by Billy Messerschmitt and called the Typhoon. The Typhoon, a 4-seat high-speed runabout. It had good performance on an Argus AS-10 engine. Our pilot Clive Denny is a classic view of how you can proceed if you've got some determination in the world of aviation. Teardrop canopy, so very different shape of the Spitfire. Based at Humberside International Airport, not a stone's throw from here. See, a very different shape now. That wonderful wing of Reginald Joseph Mitchell. The markings on the side of it, CRS, do not denote a squadron. They denote somebody who frequently is seen flying this. Cliff R. Spink, Air Marshal of this parish. Holding it on the prop, dropping backwards. Falling leaf coming down. You heard the interview with Gerald earlier. This is the kind of stuff that put him into a gold medal position in Europe against and beating state-sponsored teams. Ladies and gentlemen, Gerald Cooper. You can see why the gold medal went to him. Quite spectacular, as indeed has been the whole of today's display.